Congress just introduced a first federal bill specifically for AI agents. Here's what that means for how you'll build autonomous systems. We'll also look at how Anthropic's taking their agents cross platform and why you need to benchmark the latest models right now. No BS AI briefing brought to you by Proactive AI. Welcome back. I'm your host, Vikas Sharma, and this is where builders get straightforward AI news without the fluff. Alright, let's dive into some high signal items that hit my radar this week. First up, Anthropic is expanding Claude Cowork to iOS, Android, and the web. Now, this isn't just about making their agents mobile, it's a big step towards a unified experience. They've added a shared sidebar and search functionality across devices, essentially letting your agents run background tasks with scheduling. But here's the kicker for us builders: these agents require explicit user approval before finalizing any actions. In plain English, this means your agent won't go rogue and accidentally book you a flight to Mars without you giving it a clear thumbs up. For us, the interesting part is how this sets a new user experience bar for enterprise workflows. If your agentic product is desktop only, it's already at risk of feeling clunky or obsolete compared to a cross device persistent solution like this. And that human in the loop approval mechanism, that's not just a nice to have, it's a direct alignment with emerging compliance expectations and could very well map to forthcoming policy standards we're seeing. So think about building that into your agent interfaces from day one. Next, and this is a big one, Senator Mark Warner from the US just floated what looks like the first serious federal bill on agentic AI. It's a discussion draft tentatively named the AI Agent Act. This proposal is a lot to unpack, but it's pushing for FTC registered custodial user agents that would carry fiduciary duties, meaning they'd legally have to act in your best interest. It also talks about robust data privacy standards, clear action transparency, mandatory kill switches, and even interoperability on large platforms. Phew. Why does this matter for builders? Well, it moves the conversation around agentic AI from a fragmented state level patchwork to a concentrated federal focus. This means we must start designing for audit trails, explicit user consent, and clear shutdown controls now, not later. We can't wait for the final law, the direction is clear. Plus, those interoperability mandates could totally reshape how platforms function and might create new certification pathways that effectively become the industry's de facto standards. Think about that for your integration strategies. Also, making waves this week, Anthropic extended free access to Fable 5 through July 19th. This is the second extension in a week, and it's very clearly positioned against OpenAI's GPT 5.6 Sol release. What does this create? A short but critical window for us to benchmark and integrate these cutting edge models at no cost. It's almost like they're giving us a free R&D sprint. For builders, this is a clear signal to treat these free access windows as exactly that: time boxed R&D sprints, not guaranteed perpetual resources. If you're serious about leveraging frontier models, you should be comparing Fable 5 and Sol right now to inform your production model choices. This isn't just about who has the better model, it's about which one fits your specific use case, latency requirements, and cost profile. Don't miss this window. And finally, across the pond, the UK has unveiled a $45 million plan for its music industry. Their Turn It Up, Our Plan for Music combines grants, mentoring, and licensing reforms. But here's the AI angle. The plan explicitly flags AI generated and AI mimicked content as significant concerns. It's clear that governments are looking at sector specific impacts of AI. This really matters for anyone building in the creative space, especially music. It tells us that sector specific AI policy and incentives are going to keep emerging. So, if you're building music AI tools or even broader creative AI, you need to anticipate that explicit rights and licensing prerequisites will become standard. And what about those economic levers? They might just accompany regulation, shaping adoption costs, and creating new market opportunities or challenges. Keep an eye on how these grants and reforms interact with AI development in the UK. Now, For our deep dive this week, we really have to talk about Senator Warner's AI Agent Act. This is the first federal framework specifically aimed at agentic systems, and it feels like a really pivotal moment. It marks a clear shift in the US debate from should we regulate AI agents to how exactly do we govern these autonomous systems. This signals priority attention, and that means we as builders need to pay close attention. So, what exactly happened here? Senator Warner released a discussion draft, emphasis on a discussion draft, of a bill that would establish a new category of custodial user agents. These wouldn't just be software, they'd be FTC registered entities with specific fiduciary duties. Imagine your agent being legally obligated to act in your best interest, much like a financial advisor. The bill also proposes clear data privacy standards, requirements for transparency about actions, mandatory kill switches to halt agent activity, and interoperability mandates to ensure these agents can work across different large platforms. This is far more comprehensive than anything we've seen at the federal level for agents so far. Why does this matter right now? Well, for starters, the rapid acceleration of agentic AI since late 2025 has left existing regulations scrambling. The EU AI Act touches on risk, and the FTC has some general guidance, but there's been no dedicated US framework for agents. This bill changes that conversation entirely. For the market, it creates a new layer of compliance and responsibility that wasn't there before. For product development, it means that features like clear consent flows, detailed audit logs, and easily accessible off switches aren't just good design choices, they could soon be legal necessities. This is about future proofing your product against a rapidly evolving regulatory landscape. Who should really care about this? Honestly, everyone building with AI agents, but let me break it down. Founders or need to care because compliance costs and requirements are now a looming reality. Building with these guardrails from the start could be a significant competitive advantage. But product managers to leader will need to translate these regulatory concepts like fiduciary duty and action transparency into actual user experiences and product features. How do you design an interface that makes an agent's reasoning clear? That's the challenge. Engineering leaders and indie hackers will be responsible for implementing these technical controls, creating robust audit trails, building reliable kill switches, and ensuring their systems can actually demonstrate transparency and consent. For anyone touching the application layer of AI, this is your new sandbox. How would I think about this as a builder? I'd approach it like the early days of data privacy regulations, perhaps GDPR or HIPAA. You don't wait for the final law to drop, you start baking in the principles now. Compliance isn't a burden to be avoided, it's a feature that builds user trust and reduces your long term risk. Think of it as a quality standard. This also presents a massive opportunity for companies building tools. For agents, think specialized agent framework providers, audit logging solutions, or consent management platforms tailored for autonomous systems. The infrastructure layer for agents might just become more valuable than the application layer, at least in the short term, as everyone scrambles to comply. Don't assume this is just for the big guys. Startups that get this right early could really differentiate themselves. My no BS take here, this is a discussion draft, so don't hit the panic button just yet. The specifics, especially around interoperability and the practicalities of fiduciary duties, are still vague and will evolve, but the clear signal is that autonomous AI agents are a top priority for federal oversight, and responsible auditable design isn't going to be optional. Start planning, start prototyping with these concepts in mind. If you want one practical takeaway from today's episode, especially with all the model competition heating up, here it is. But benchmark Fable 5 versus Soul this week. Okay, seriously, here's how to try it in under 60 minutes. And remember, Anthropic's free Fable 5 access ends July 19th. First, identify a core representative workflow or task that your product relies on or that you're exploring with AI. Maybe it's summarizing complex documents, generating creative content, or extracting specific data points from unstructured text. Pick something that gives you meaningful output. Second, run that exact same task through both Anthropic's Fable 5 while it's still free and OpenAI's GPT 5.6 Sol. For each run, track three key metrics: the latency, how fast you get a response, the estimated cost per API call, even if it's currently free, know the hypothetical cost, and most importantly, the qualitative output quality. Does one generate more accurate responses? Is one more creative or better at following instructions? Third, document your findings. Create a simple table or spreadsheet. Note down which model performed better for your specific task and why. This isn't just about raw performance, it's about fit. Why is this specific experiment worth your time right now? Because free access windows like this are literally free R&D. They're a gift. Leveraging them lets you directly compare frontier models in your own context without commitment. It's how you future-proof your product, avoid vendor lock-in blind spots, and make informed strategic decisions about which foundation model truly aligns with your product goals rather than just going with the latest hype. Don't leave this on the table. That's it for today's No BS AI briefing. If this helped, follow the show in your podcast app and share it with one builder you know. And if you've got questions or topics you want covered, connect with me on LinkedIn and send them over. See you in the next briefing.